Hi all. Yeah, just working on planning out some D&D. So yeah, this is notes we have coming into this. Obviously not much yet. Some basic ideas on things. Right, yeah. Uh, so, obviously, if you're one of our players, you probably don't want to watch this. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, try and figure out some first adventure oh, options. Um, just and meeting options as well. Just to how we're gonna get party together, and more importantly, in many ways, what is that first option going to be, or what that first sort of thing is going to be. So yeah, I'll get back to you when I've got some options down for each of these. Okay, what was a couple options for Team Meteor and a couple options for First Adventure. Um, yeah, I think so. I think what I'll probably do from here is, yeah. So obviously the meeting options, some sort of arrival for in the location of one of these, one of the potential problems that, or potential adventures that, you know, similar enough time, close enough time to each other that it could be easily explained for them going in together, right? Especially as first level characters, they shouldn't be confident dealing with any of these problems alone. As reasonable, meeting up on some campsite on the, by the side of the road also makes a lot of sense, right? They're all heading into town for some reason or another, or then having them all meet up makes a lot of sense as a potential option, right? Then we've got potential to have them all hard on independently, obviously, which then, you know, gives them essentially a reason to meet up and gives us a good reason to put them all together, gives them an adventure, and just be like, go, do the thing, right? That's a simple enough solutions, but avoid the traditional, and at this point, relatively dull, you'll meet in a tavern. And so those are definitely options, and so then in terms of first adventure options, we're currently running on some idea around probably kobolds having taken over a mine that needs clearing out, essentially. So, you know, relatively simple problem in many ways, but it gives us a lot of opportunities for, you know, essentially a relatively small, relatively easy first dungeon, right? But there's good reasons to at the very least have a couple traps to problem solve through, and a couple decent fights as well, right? You know, kobolds shouldn't be too threatening, so we should be able to ensure that we don't insta-give the level 1 party whilst also providing a reasonable degree of threat if they handle things, enough threat that things have to be handled sensibly without the same level of risk of an instant party, of a TPK in the first session, which is a complicated balance at level 1, you know. Some bandits raiding a trade caravan, it has the advantage that it's relatively easy to pull back with the right, because it's on the road. So this will be on the road, right? And it's against assumedly human, full intelligent, these are people acting out of desperation, probably, at least in part, right? So there's good ways to pull back if things are going poorly, essentially, right? If I unbalance the encounter, there are good ways to essentially pull the party out the fire if I need to, whilst also it does have the disadvantage over the kobolds of there not being any good options for things like traps, at the very least, none of these really give riddle options, which is unfortunate, but, yeah, I don't know. I don't think we want an actual, official dungeon at this level. There's always the option of sort of having, yeah, and then, I mean, we could do some sort of level 1 dungeon, but that feels messy in comparison. Unless, natural start. And then the final thing we're thinking is some form of, village, not villager, village. We need a new keyboard. Village, needing help defending from some sort of an attack, We're thinking something, some small demonic incursion or goblins. Goblins ties into one of the players' backstories, so, that's the thought process there, essentially. And of course, they're, again, relatively easy to adapt to the party's level. Whilst a small demonic incursion, there are risks of doing anything demonic at level 1, especially given that they're not getting magic items outside of a bag of holding for the party. Because, yeah, we're not giving level 1 characters magic items, go away. That's not how this works. But a small demonic incursion can be stuck to relatively small things, and because they're helping defend a village, it also gives us the option of, essentially, they don't have to do the entire fight alone. Yeah, I think given that they want a level of sort of dungeoneering with traps and riddles, I do think the kobolds is probably the best choice. Yeah, I think we'll go with this one. And I think for that, it makes the most sense for them to be hired on. Yeah, so if they get hired on to deal with the kobolds, yeah, and then they can do that. I think that's what we're going to go with. So, yeah, I think that's the bits of prep I really wanted to get done in the immediate. Considering trying to sketch out like a world map or a map for the mine, maybe. Probably not a world map or even a country map at this stage, but I don't know. I think I'll leave it at this for now because I'm running incredibly low on energy at the minute, and this isn't needed until next week. So for today, this will do in terms of prep work, because it's taken hours to get these ideas together right now, which is unfortunate, but also where we are. So, yeah, if you've got ideas and things you think should be added, feel free to leave them in the comments. It'd be great to have ideas on any of this. This system signing out. Hope to catch you all next week. Please do remember to like, subscribe, comment, especially if you've got any questions you want answered. Be happy to answer them either in the comments or in another video. So catch you all next week.